We made a reservation a year ago, February of 2019, for a 6-bedroom cabin in Florida, Davenport, Florida, through VRBO. Our daughters made the reservation. My wife and I paid for it with our credit cards. It was fully paid for, over $4,000. I paid for way in advance of our arrival, due on March 25th of 2020. And of course, the coronavirus struck, and of course, basically no travel was allowed. And even if we had traveled down to Florida, we're in northern Wisconsin here. We were originally planning on still going, but then when common sense dictated the fact that if we got down there, we might have a lot of problems, so we stayed home. And since then, we've been trying to work with VRBO, the owner of the property. And at best, we only got a 50% return on our funds of over $4,000 we paid in. We've only gotten approximately $2,100 back in rebate, basically, or money funds returned to us. And every other website other than VRBO and HomeAway has returned money to all their customers. So bottom line is, I would highly say to anybody considering looking through VRBO or HomeAway, avoid them like the plague, like the coronavirus. Okay, from the beginning, our daughters made a reservation through VRBO for this house down in Davenport, Florida. It was through VRBO, HomeAway, both one and the same. And it was for us, my wife and I. My wife is here. Anyway, it's for the both of us, our daughters, the families, the grandkids, and all this. It was a 6-bedroom for 3 weeks. We booked it. Our first payment was back on, February 2nd of 2019. My wife and I put it on our credit card, $1,008.58 back on February 2nd of 19. Then on April 18th of 2019, we paid an additional $1,130 on our credit card. And the final payment was $1,975.50 that we paid back on February 1st of this year. Okay.
That was the balance.
That was the balance due.
So it was paid in full.
Everything was paid in full. We even took out accidental damage protection. We purchased that on January 16th for an additional $59. The whole thing came to a grand total of $4,114.08. Well, of course, when this virus stuff started, I believe it was a Sunday. I remember that. So I think it was Sunday, March 1st. Yes, Sunday, March 1st. I was sitting here, we had been discussing, are we going to go or are we not going to go? And of course, at that time, things hadn't gotten as crazy as it is right now. But anyway, I called VRBO, and it said right on their website that you had, expect a long wait, which I think I sat here on hold for like 45 minutes. And finally, a female answered, and I explained the whole situation to her. And I says, I realize it's not, we were due in March 25th, I think it was our arrival date down there. So this is like the 1st of March. And she says, well, our cancellation policy. I said, I know, I read your cancellation policy. 30 days before you cancel, you only got 50% back or less, and on and on. Anyway, she was saying because of the ongoing coronavirus situation, that they were highly encouraging all their homeowners to refund all the money that they had received. But I would have to contact the owner. And she gave me, at the time, I did not have the gentleman's phone number, but she gave me his phone. Where'd that go?
It's up here.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, she gave me this phone number of Wayne, spelled Weyne. And it gave me his, must be his cell phone or whatever. And when I tried calling him, I didn't even get a voicemail. It rang, and nothing. So then I called my daughters that afternoon. She says, well, I'll take care of that because they're the ones, everything was through their email, with replies and all that kind of stuff. All we did, my wife and I did, is we paid for it on our credit card. And like I said, the total we paid was $4,114. So my daughter wrote what would you call it, a text or whatever, explaining the situation because of our COPD and our age, and plus the travel restrictions that were now becoming more commonplace and being put in place. We
were going to send our kids even if we couldn't go. They were still going to use it, but then Disney closed, and they had already prepaid for all their tickets, which they did get their money back from Disney. They got their money back from their airfare when the travel restrictions started coming. So at that point, when restaurants started closing, I thought, what are we going to do out there? How are we going to get any supplies?
Yeah, I mean, that's the bottom line was, we luckily, I guess in one respect, we were lucky in the respect that we weren't caught down there in the middle of this. Secondly, I have a neighbor next door. He just got back. He spends the winters in Florida. We're up here in the northern Wisconsin, upper peninsula of Michigan. And I happen to call him, and he says, oh, yeah, don't bother coming down. He says, you can't find anything in the stores. Everybody's hoarding, I'm sure you're well aware, the toilet paper. And it's like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. Anyway, 2-3 weeks ago, I was sitting here, and his number was here, and I looked at it, and I says, hey, so what the hell? I tried calling it, and I got him. I guess his name is Wayne.
Well, it's not his real name.
Well, I don't know whether it is or not, because on the website it gives the name of I think I sent it to you. Oh yeah, Zinwei Shir.
Sure.
Whatever. He had like an Indian dialect. Doesn't matter. And I asked him, I says, is there any way you can see your way clear to refund a little bit more of our money? I said, I even agree, because we have a resort here. That's what we operate ourselves. Just 8 cabins. And at that time, we had already discussed it, and we says, we're planning on returning if anybody calls and cancels because of this ongoing pandemic, that we're going to return the money. It's just, to me, it's good PR. And so I was just saying this all to him, and he hides behind the VRBO Airbnb, or not Airbnb, HomeAway with policies, how much they're supposed to return. At first, he told my daughter he was only going to return $1,700, and since then we have gotten back $2,193. So approximately 50% is what he's returned. And of course, we've seen through the social media and on the news, Airbnb, which is another one of these home rental places. People put their places up, just like VRBO, HomeAway. Airbnb has basically, I guess the company has refunded any monies that were due to the public. And it's just, we've tried to file or put on VRBO. You can't put a review on there unless you've been a renter, which we had done a year ago. We rented a different house down in Florida. We're happy with it. And I put a review on for the particular location we were at. But because of this ongoing thing, and I just happened to find your website one day, I just put in here, I forget what my typed in question was in Google, and your site came up, and then we filled out our complaint, and that's how we got to you. So the bottom line is, my wife even sent a text to VRBO and to the owner asking for more than the 50% refund because of the ongoing pandemic that nobody had any control over, I'm sure, as you're well aware.
Well, the thing is, I think a lot of those, there was, I think, $250 billion set aside for places like that. They're going to get their money back in return. So they're actually probably double dipping. Well, we don't know that for sure.
So anyway, that's basically from our side of it, how things have transpired. And we spent a little over $4,000 and never got to use it. And the owner, when I talked to him, he used the hide behind the guise of, well, I've still got expenses. I said, well, so do I. But I mean, it's not my fault that you got a mortgage, even though I'm sure you've heard on the news that a lot of the mortgages are being not being let go, but they're letting people slide for a few months until things come back somewhat to normal. And hopefully something will. In fact, I even mentioned to him, I said, I'd be willing to let you keep a 10%, like $400. That would pretty much cover your electric bill for the month. But other than that, with us not being there, I cannot figure for the life of me what his ongoing expenses are. So he basically made a $2,000 profit and never had the place rented out. So that's what we're. And then I think I responded, or I made my reply under one of the other ones on your site. Same situation. Since then I've seen a number of people, making lists of all their complaints. I saw there was one guy, I think it was he had a place rented in Germany or something like that, and it was like $7,000. He never got any of it back. So, God. So anyway.
It was supposed to be a special vacation. It was our 45th wedding anniversary. We never been on a vacation with all our kids and our grandkids. So it was a special thing. And we did attempt to try to all come. Like I said, the kids were going to come even if we couldn't go, but everything hit the fan.
Yep. And of course, I mean, in the last 2 weeks, we just sort of said, we're done. We sat here at home thanking the Lord that we weren't caught in the middle of it down there in Florida. And in fact, I don't know if you saw it on the news. There was a video somebody took. They were on I-95. That's the 4-lane highway going into Florida. And there was the person taking the video was northbound on I-95. Well, when they got close to the Georgia state line, the traffic on the southbound lanes was backed up over 10 miles. And she was commenting. She says, yeah, I saw that they were making everybody stop. They were making them go through like a roadblock, taking their temperature, and then asking them, or if they saw their license plates. If they were from New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut, they were forced to turn around and leave. They weren't even letting them enter the state. So, I mean, that's how crazy things have gotten. I don't know if it's still like that today, but at that time, that could have been our situation. We would have driven all the way down there. The kids were going to fly down. We were taking our van. That's why we were going to take the kids or stop at the kids and pick up all their luggage. That way they wouldn't have to pay for, luggage to go on the plane. But the bottom line is, I mean, basically we sat here and thankfully we haven't gotten the virus. We've, been, of course,
compliance with self-distancing.
Social distancing and all that kind of stuff.
I did file a report with the Better Business Bureau, and they were going to get back to this Wayne.
Yeah, in Florida.
Contact him. So we haven't heard. That was just yesterday, I think. So I haven't heard anything.
But they're doing an investigation.
So I don't know if there's anything you can do or can be done, or I just think it's shameful that keeping that money like that. It is. I don't know.
Tell me, what recommendations would you give to other customers of VRBO?
Well, I've put it on your site is, in fact, everybody I've talked to, I've said, do not work with VRBO, HomeAway. I mean, they've given themselves a black eye. And in fact, I think I put it in my comment and my first, commentary on your site, PissedConsumer. I love that name, by the way. I said, anybody that's got stock in the Airbnb, that's the way to go. Avoid VRBO and HomeAway as much as possible. Even though we got competitors being in this business, in the resort business up here, we have 3 neighbors that rent their house out on VRBO. And now that summer's starting to hopefully someday get here, we still got ice on our lake and snow all over the place on the yard. But irregardless, I'm on a particular board here locally that that's the other thing that's a little irritating is the people rent their places out, and like us, we collect. Let's say hypothetically, you're one of our guests. When you pay the bill, we collect our 6% tax for the state of Michigan. Well, these people, they've sort of thrown in my face. Oh, I just take that 6% that tax money, so to speak, put it in my pocket to pay my real estate property taxes. I thought, well, I'd love to do the same thing, but I'm trying to we're legal about it, and we pay our funds to the state. So Anyway, that's really got nothing to do with it. But it's just that my recommendation to anybody is stay away from VRBO and HomeAway because they're both owned. They're under the same auspices, under the same guidance of the owner is Experian. They're both owned by Experian, which is a big, what is that? That's one of those credit corporations.
Can you add some resolution about the solution that you're looking for? Yeah, like what do you want to get from them?
Well, the solution would be if they would return the remainder of the money. Even I would even be willing to say for the trouble that, you know, the cost factor, the paperwork, whatever you want to call it, processing fees, if they would have even kept 10%, which would have been $400. But they've kept over $2,000 of our funds, and it didn't cost them a cent. So the resolution would be if they would return close to $2,000, we would be satisfied. And then I could give positive reviews. At least I could say, okay, they worked with us, and knowing it'd be a different situation if this virus hadn't hit, but this is worldwide. So there was no reason for them to stand behind VRBO's policy of saying, oh, we can't return any money if it's been canceled less than 30 days. Well, who knew 30 days prior to our arrival that it was going to get that serious? You know, I mean, that's like me when I got people ask me, well, what's going to happen here? I said, well, you tell me when the stock market's going to 50,000 points. In other words, nobody can tell you what's going on in the future.